Patrick Lecture 87 is a question and answer session. And that is an opportunity to look at very small examples of topics, small presentations of concepts, rather than an entire lecture. I find some of the guide's answers to questions more concise than the longer explanation. So I really enjoy the Q&As, but they're hard to present because they range so many topics. This week, too, I labeled as facts as fragments of truth. And I included the section of the Q&A where the guide addressed a question about subjective truth, saying there is no subjective truth. Then he went on to say that there is artistic truth in that is a way of attempting to measure how much truth is in a presentation. So rather than artistic truth, I invite you to think of this as what subjective truth might be hinting at, and that is that we all have some element of truth, some access to truth, some way of presenting it. The question is, how much truth are we seeing in the first place, realizing, absorbing, and how well are we presenting it, meaning how do we filter it? What do we allow through and what do we stop? So all of us have filters. All of us have things that places we don't want to go, explorations we don't want to make. So there's a human tendency to want to understand everything, and that also melds into this. And that is that we want to think that we have everything. So there's a phrase, I have all the facts, which, you got to laugh. I have all the facts. It's shorthand. It means I have all the facts I need in order to make a decision today, in order to feel confident about what I'm doing at the moment. But of course, if other facts came into your possession, into your realization, you would shift that decision, or you might shift that decision. And what happens is we do get other facts and we decide they aren't relevant. We decide that they don't influence the decision we've already made, even if they do. This is what is meant as subjective truth. We evaluate these so-called facts, and yet at the same time we claim I have the facts, or this is the fact. But like statistics, sometimes facts are deceptive because they're taken out of context, or one set of facts is emphasized over the other. And that's where today we're kind of in trouble with the phrase alternative facts, or my truth is truer than your truth kind of thing. There was a cartoon that I cut out or put on my computer that has a picture of somebody sitting at their computer and excitedly turning to somebody else and saying, look what I have found in 5 minutes on the internet. It's a cure for, or a solution to some huge giant problem. And it's funny to me because that's what it can feel like. It can feel like we are able now with the internet and the computers and all this to find information that we used to have to rely on others to find. So others had to present to us, and then we would decide how to accept that information. Today, we can go in and we can find information. The dilemma is we're not necessarily finding all the information. So as all of you know, if you want to make an argument, you can find facts, opinions, information that will sustain an argument. It would be interesting, for instance, if you came up with a ridiculous argument and you tried to research and find facts to support that, because you could make a pretty good case for almost anything. And so this is in support of, I'm speaking of this, in support of facts are only fragments of truth. So what do you do if all you've got are facts? What if all you've got is information? And now let's fall back to what pathwork emphasizes, what it attempts to teach. And that is you can have a sense, you can have a feeling that something is well done or in integrity. Just like you can have the impression that there is artistic truth in a presentation. It may not be something you agree with, and yet there can be a degree of artistic truth. And then you decide if you want to take that in and include that in the way you process decisions on how to lead your life. So this is like watching a movie or a film or a play, and hearing something that affects you and allows you to look at the world differently from that point on. It's information you didn't have before. In those artistic ways, they're giving you not just documentary information, they're giving you the feeling of something. It awakens something in you that wasn't awake before, and now you are sensitive to it as you move out into the world. The other element that could be used with this is the Pathwork teachings on 3 types of personality. 3, rather than personality types, I like to think of it as 3 ways of seeing and interpreting the world that we favor. So I may favor one over the other. I may have lots of elements within me, but I tend to favor a certain way of looking at the world. And that is based on reason, will, and emotion. Not that emotion types don't have reason and reason types don't have emotion, but a reason type would rely more on factual information, and an emotion type would depend more on how it feels or how on their sensory ability to understand information. And the will type balances based on what advantage will it give me? Does it make me feel strong and powerful, or does it make me feel weak? These are ways of perceiving the world. And facts, if they fit into this triad of personality types, the reason type may rely more on facts than feelings or sensory impressions, which can lead us astray. Emotion types may rely more on the sensation, and some facts bring a certain sensation or sense of security than others. And the emotion type may not like a sense of unease, even if that fact is true. It may prefer facts that support its desire to feel in a certain way. And the will type may prefer facts that give it an advantage or support its point of view. So just a bit of stuff about how different ways you can read this small section on facts as fragments of truth. Thanks for listening.